The early 2000s is home to a lot of games that I hold dear. This includes Battlefield Vietnam, which if you don't know, I'm in a bit of a scandal for because whether I actually played this as a child is up for debate, but we're going to have a look at Vietcong, which is a tactical first-person shooter made by the boys over in Czech Republic in 2003, and if you like the Vietnam War genre, this game has something you might like, such as Huey's, special forces missions in the dead of night, tunnel combat, and a true feeling of claustrophobia that'll make you feel like you're in Predator. But you play as a sergeant first class for the special forces as a man named Steve Hawkins, I did that accidentally, who admittingly, yes, I know this game was made back in 2003, but he looks like a zombie with PTSD. Heck, even a lot of the other character models don't really hold up. They didn't age too well, but you are stationed at a place called Noi Pek, and you have to complete a series of missions that involved patrolling a set path, investigating recon reports, and even repelling Vietnamese attacks on the base. Heck, you even have to survive in the jungle after a helicopter crash, but you usually have secondary objectives that you can complete, but it isn't necessary. But while you do have a linear path to follow, you do have some leniency in the fact that you can go off the main path and you can find ammo crates, vantage points, and other little neat things. Thankfully, the game has a tutorial where you can test out the controls and game mechanics. However, I should say that I am not a soldier, and I know that some of you watching this are probably past and present soldiers, in which I have a lot of respect for, but I wouldn't last 5 minutes in boot camp, especially if I had a drill instructor who was giving me mixed signals on whether he wanted to sodomize me.
I will fuck you up the ass. I will personally ram that weapon up his ass. Is that understood, you sacks of shit?
Jesus, no wonder Steven has a 1,000-yard stare.
I will fuck you up the ass. I will personally ram that weapon up his ass. Is that understood, you sacks of shit?
But you have a team that you must lead that consists of a medic who can heal you, you have a machine gunner, an engineer who gives you ammo, you even have a point man who is able to detect traps, and if you get lost, you can actually have him lead the way. But each character have their own personality that you become accustomed to as the game progresses. You do get some interesting moments between them, to say the least.
He even knows some of the VC personally.
Really? Me fight with Viet Minh against French, but me no like commies, they damn son of a bitches.
It's hell down there.
So next time, let D4 go. He's small enough. Oh, yeah? And why not you, big guy? Too fat, huh? Shut it, short ass.
But you also have a radio man who acts as a quick save point, and you can get into contact with superiors to progress the missions as well. And in true Rising Storm 2 Vietnam fashion, when you need the radio man, he's nowhere to be found. But this is because of a common criticism that I see of the game, and that is that the AI moves so slowly. And yes, I did find it annoying, especially since I was playing it on the easiest difficulty and was basically going Terminator John Wick style, but I believe the AI was intentionally designed this way. You aren't going to be hopping and quick scoping people in real life, and this is where the tactical elements of the game come into play. You are supposed to take things slowly, checking bushes, ridges, trees, anywhere Charlie could be hiding, and you must look out for traps, which I honestly had no idea the true brutality of these things. There are signs placed around the map that you can actually study in your barracks that'll tell you where a trap might be placed and what kind of trap it is before you even see it. But staying on the topic of tactical, there is no health regeneration, but you can use bandages that are scarcely found around, or you can use the medic. You do have a mini-map, but you really have to rely on an actual map that doesn't tell you where you are. And yes, I know that a lot of you are most likely older than me and will call me a moron for having difficulty using a real map, because it did take me a little bit to get my bearings, especially when looking at it with the moon's light shining down on it and dodging gunfire. You also can take that many hits, and I just love how the hardest difficulty is it just says Vietnam. I imagine if Grand Theft Auto had a difficulty setting, Detroit would be the hardest. But the Vietcong start off with Mosins, SKSs, and not so deadly weapons, but it isn't until you progress that things get more difficult, because you have to deal with fully automatic weapons such as AK-47s and RPDs that turn you into minced meat. And it doesn't help that the game does this thing where it's harder to aim when getting shot at. I understand from a real life perspective it makes sense, but it did get frustrating when I couldn't turn around fast enough to shoot because someone was shooting me in the back. But for the time, the AI is pretty goddamn smart. Sure, they have the brain dead moments, but I mean, that's a problem we still face to this day. God damn it, get down from there, get! get. But the AI use cover intelligently, and they don't just bum rush you, they can retreat, they can ambush you, as well as dive in and out of cover. I truly felt hopeless at times because you can hear them, but you can't see them, and you have to rely on seeing tracer rounds and muzzle flashes. You are able to control the friendly AI similar to how you would in SWAT, where you have a command menu that allows you to make them follow you, hold a position, and switch from aggressive to stealth behavior. But speaking of stealth, there are moments where you can sneak around and use silenced weapons. It isn't a flawless system, but the enemies aren't lasering you the instant you come within visual distance of them. But the game ultimately ends with you abandoning the base when it's attacked and pulling back south. The last mission is actually supposed to be a reference to the attack of Lang V, I'm sorry if I butchered that, which happened in 1968, which does line up with the game's timeline. But in terms of weaponry, you do get a large variety, but I don't know the true historical accuracy of them. I know that some of you might be saying that, oh no, the special forces would have never used that weapon in this time period, which, okay, fair enough, but it's an old game, just cut it some slack. But the animations can feel, of course, yes, a little janky at times, but I didn't find it that bad, especially considering back then, games didn't have a proper ADS system. I know it can vary depending on game and genre and everything, but this game does have a proper ADS system. Sure, you don't actually look through the iron sights, but I mean, I'd say for the time, it's pretty impressive. But a cool thing about this game is that before you go out into a mission, you can view your progression, how many kills you have, the current mission objectives, research on weapons, and you also have a little bunker with little knickknacks in it, but you have free reign over what weapons you want to bring into a fight. Speaking of knickknacks, you can actually find items throughout the game that sort of humanizes the VC, such as ID cards, propaganda pieces, letters.
Up your ass, commies.
Because admittingly, this game, if Twitter got a hold of it, it wouldn't be too good to say the least, because the G word is thrown around a fair bit. I don't condone the use of that language, but we need to talk about the maps, and in my opinion, they are one of the best parts of the game because you feel like you're in a real jungle, because all the foliage makes it hard to move around. You can hear wildlife in the background, as well as the sound of water bodies and the occasional Huey flying by. Seriously, it sounds like one of those like white noise YouTube videos. Feels so cramped, and if you are going in completely blind, you will get ambushed, and it has led to some of the most butt-clenching moments. But the VC's camouflage really does blend in, and it can just be really hard to see at times, especially on night maps where they wear all black and you have to rely on tracers and muzzle flashes to actually see where it's coming from. Even the underground levels where you literally go through an entire city in pitch darkness was something I don't think I've ever seen in any other game. But in regards to the storyline, I didn't pay that much attention to it, unfortunately. But another shame is the multiplayer, because apparently it was this fantastic experience, and the co-op mode was really well done as well, where you can play with a mate as well as complete missions together. But nonetheless, this game is a classic in my opinion, and it was made during a time where World War II shooters dominated the market, and you can tell this game was designed with a Vietnam theme in mind rather than sort of slapping a skin on top of previous work, if you know what I mean. I just wish this game would get remastered, because it would be absolutely beautiful in my opinion. But if you want to see a new Vietnam War game hopefully coming out in 2022, then click on the video on screen. Anyways, my name is Tantu, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, because if you did, please do consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing the video with your friends. Anyways, my name is Tantu, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.